Hello everyone and welcome to 2019. I am here just a little bit early to bring you a video which I've been really excited to make, as I have been feeling it for a long time, and I've been planning out the idea for this video and series for some time now, and it does also signify that we are slowly moving away from 2018, which is such a sigh of relief for so many of us, I know. I'm so excited for 2019. I hope that you are as well, coming into this time as we are at the end of December as I'm filming this channeling. It's so wonderful, everyone. I'm just feeling so optimistic, so bright, so incredible about the energy that does present itself in 2019, as it is going to be such a change, such a strong departure and homecoming, it feels, from the energy that we went through in 2018. I know a lot of us have struggled. I know a lot of us have felt overwhelmed and stuck in a lot of ways. And my goal with this video, as I'm going to move in with some intuitive, astrological, and tarot insights for 2019 as a whole, collectively for all signs, is to help us sort of bridge the gap between this disconnect that we've had between feeling overwhelmed and enthusiastic and feeling healed and broken. You know, there's a lot of stark lines right now that I feel we all need a little bit of healing from. So I'm very happy to really set the intention of this video and this series to help us achieve a stronger sense of connection within and a stronger sense of simplicity, because that's a lot of what 2019 is about, is simplicity. But first off, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Keen.com for sponsoring this video. I love Keen because it's so simple and easy. It's a really convenient and affordable way to get a psychic reading instantly. Basically, you can go to their website and you can sign up, and you'll see as you're doing that there's a really quick and easy way that makes a lot of sense of finding the perfect psychic and finding the perfect person to really give you a quick overlook on what's going on in your life. You know, they're not restricted in their subjects. You can talk about love, relationship, career, really whatever's coming up for you, whatever you're struggling with. And again, the reason that I like Keen is because it's so instant, it's so easy. I know that some of you probably want to book readings with me. I have a waiting list right now, and of course I want to work with anyone who would like to work with me, but it can take a long time, you know, sometimes up to even a month. And if you need something really quick, easy, and also cheap, Keen is a good option, because you know, you can just click the button and you know you're going into a reading and you have some instant insight. So please go to Keen, please check it out. Because of them sponsoring this video, I'm able to give more content to you guys, and you guys following my personal link below and trying it out, you know, it's really cheap. I think it's $5 for 5 minutes, $10 for 15 minutes, $15 for 25 minutes. I mean, such a good deal. You don't really find prices like that. And again, when you use this type of website, you have to remember that it's general, and you know, maybe someone can't solve every single problem that you have. Again, the purpose of psychic readings is to clarify, not necessarily to solve. You have to kind of step into your own place to solve your own problems. But it's just such a nice, convenient way to quickly, immediately get some more clarification on whatever it is you're going through. And it dearly helps my own channel to grow and to be able to provide so much content for you guys. So make sure you follow my link if you want to check that out. That's in the description box below. So much thanks to them for sponsoring this video. And without further ado, let's talk more about 2019. So in order for something really amazing and really beautiful to start, we have to have a healthy conclusion of what came before that. So one of the more difficult things moving into 2019 that can emerge is a tendency to over-prioritize what's coming from 2018. So struggling perhaps a little bit to let go of what emerged in 2018, mindsets, people, experiences, circumstances, anything which became really grasping in 2018 can be kind of difficult to let go as you're moving in. And as a lot of you know, the true new year is when we move into Aries time, so around March 21st. And we have this calendar new year in January, which is Capricorn time, which is not a new time. It is not a rebirth time. It is a solidarity time. It is a holding secure time. So that can be a little bit of an issue for us as New Year's resolutions, etc., start to be more difficult, because January is not a new energy. Nonetheless, we still celebrate it as a society and we mark it as a society, so that gives it power. But I want you to kind of work with that timeline from now at the end of December to March 21st. How can I make this the ultimate ending phase to that which no longer serves me? And how can I prepare by March 21st, when Aries time starts, when the astrological new year starts, to be connected to my true New Year's resolutions, to be connected to the rebirth that I'm experiencing, because transformation is such a strong concept right now for sure. We had Jupiter in Scorpio throughout all of 2018, and that ultimately did so much change in all of our lives in some way. I mean, I think if you look back to 2017 versus 2018, you've seen a huge change in how you idle, you know, just how you live your life and how you experience your life, how you connect with people in your life. And you're going to see another mirroring of that in 2019, but it's going to be more of a sense of fitting into a space versus chaotically determining that space. What do I mean? In 2018, things were kind of chaotically determined, as I felt that Jupiter in Scorpio was a very like chaotic neutral type of energy, where everyone felt that they had an extreme amount of growth, but also an extreme amount of lack as well. So 2019 comes in to show a more balanced and healthy version of growth and lack as well. Which is going to be really beautiful to see, but it does require being able to say goodbye to what came up in 2018. So being able to say goodbye to the habits and addictions which harmed your health, being able to say goodbye to the people who hold you back. For some of you, also being able to transform that relationship and make it something that truly supports you in the future. That will work for some. For many of you, finally meeting the person that makes you feel strongly embraced in some way. You know, this isn't really a matter of saying, oh yes, it's 2019, I'm an astrologer, and I'm going to tell you that it's going to be perfect, because it's not. But we have like the middle planets, Jupiter and Saturn, both in their home signs, which is such an incredible backdrop and environment for feeling at home within yourself, and not feeling like you're being placed in an environment that you cannot thrive in. So 2019 is definitely a year where there are less excuses to not thrive, and less excuses to stay in environments which hold you back. So coming straight into 2019, we have to be able to kind of wave goodbye and honor and acknowledge what Jupiter and Scorpio, for example, gave us among other transits, and being able to say, okay, I take these lessons, I take this wisdom, and I acknowledge what is happening, but I do have the power to create something healthier. I do have the power to continue something healthy if you're already there, and I have the power and ability to make the transformations which are truly needed in my life. It's this type of kind of positive, optimistic power as you strive to kind of be a more higher evolved person, as you strive to do what's right for you and everyone that does exist. I feel like in 2018, we're like, if I do what's right for me, it's automatically going to be not right for someone else, or vice versa. But now you start to see that you can do what's right for you and everyone in the same action. And that acceptance that's possible, and that you don't have to have sudden pain come into your life on account of other people not being able to release their own problems, that validation has to be made within you, and that acceptance that it can happen and it can exist with beauty has to happen within you. So that's really the first step coming in at the end of December here, and kind of a overarching goal moving from December to March, because by March 21st, I'm hoping that we all feel well placed, at least a little bit in some way. So yes, the first quarter of 2019 is really all about foraging and all about seeing the difference and seeing how your impact has changed in life and how your power presents itself, your potency as a person, because we're still in the first few degrees of Jupiter in Sagittarius. So it's still going to be feeling a little bit like the Jupiter and Scorpio energy. I did do a specific video on Jupiter and Sag. If you guys get the opportunity to check it out, I'll link it in the top right-hand corner as well as the description box below. But yes, Jupiter will still be transitioning to Sagittarius during this first quarter, and we are understanding how transformations are taking hold and really preparing the stage, as that's what a lot of what I talked about in that video. So don't be discouraged if you come into January, for example, of 2019 and everything is just not suddenly changed. It's going to be different. There's going to be a difference. Like, let me tell you, like January, you know, for everyone is going to feel different, but it's likely also going to feel like you're not quite detached from what came before. And that's the process that you're going through from January to March, as you disconnect from what no longer works and start to establish a space that works. The second quarter of 2019 is where a big burst of energy happens, the second and the fourth quarter. There's a similarity between quarter 1 and 3, and then a similarity between quarter 2 and 4 of 2019. That seems to be the pattern that it's going in intuitively. And I feel that quarter two, we have to take a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a chance. Another transit that we have happening throughout 2019 is Uranus finally going direct after it's been retrograde on the cusp of Aries and Taurus, and finally getting into Taurus and moving into Taurus. That's been another kind of chaotic neutral transit that's been happening, and something that has been adding to our sense of disconnection inside. We've had so many weighty planets retrograding on cusps. We've also had Chiron retrograding on that cusp as well. And when planets retrograde on cusps, it can be so volatile because the semi-sextile angles, so like for example the angle between Aries and Taurus or Scorpio and Sagittarius, it's not an easy angle because the signs are so blatantly different. So Aries and Taurus, Scorpio and Sagittarius, Cancer and Leo, whatever it is, they're such blatantly different energies that to have a constant reactivation of both of them forces us to try to harmonize blatantly inharmonic energy. And, that can result in health struggles, trauma, chaos. But it's for a reason. It's for a reason. It affects your potency as a person. It affects the impact that you make as a person, and it also shows you what you're made of. It shows you what you truly want, sometimes by introducing scenarios that are very much vastly what you don't want, but there's still a blessing in the sudden realization of what you do. Okay, and there's so much back and forth, I know, and that's partly on account of having had such a chaotic retrograde season over about the last 2 years. We've had so many chaotic retrogrades with the Jupiter, the Uranus, the Chiron. I'm trying to remember what else there was. There were, Venus and Mercury, and all of the inner planets, and all the planets have a very solid and constant pattern of retrograding, so there's always going to be a retrograde here and there. But just over 2018, it was particularly chaotic, and speaking of the Chiron and Uranus retrogrades, I believe that it is March 6th when Uranus goes direct into Taurus for good, and I believe it is something like February 18th, yes, when Chiron goes direct into Aries for good. So we are in the first quarter of 2019, finishing up also with the energy of Chiron and Uranus. I would like to do specific videos on them. Comment below if you would like that as well. I will try to do that coming into 2019 here because it is important. But how that's affecting your 2019 in a more collective sense, things relating to that cusp, the Aries and Pisces cusp, especially for Aries and Pisces people, you're going to see that your impulses start to become more healthy. You're going to see that your wounds are going to be more healed. Chiron is the wounded healer. Uranus is all about innovation and impulse. So the things which combine those two energy subsets will become less retrograde in your life as you're navigating the first quarter of 2019. And I think that that's kind of a goal for everyone as well. During the first quarter, to go back to it for a second, is to be thinking, how can I harmonize my impulse with that which heals me versus our impulses being something that breaks us? That's been a major thing of 2018 as well, having impulses which ultimately harm, and seeing that you want things which hurt yourself. There's a bit of a masochistic edge with some of the energies that we came out of, and we're really working to heal that, and it's very important that we at least try to heal some of that in the first quarter, because as I said, as we're moving into the second quarter of 2019, there has to be a bit of a burst of energy there, and there has to be a stronger sense of confidence, and also a sense of being able to use the energy that you've stored, being able to output. That's definitely an outputting time, because we do have those direct motions of Chiron and Uranus. We have Jupiter well into Sagittarius. We have Saturn placed into Capricorn, which is such a blessing for the entire year of 2019 as well, as I've been talking about. In the astrological community, sometimes we give Saturn a hard rap. Sometimes we make Saturn out to be a big problem causer, but what a blessing it is to have it solidly placed in its home sign as we navigate some of these more volatile energy lines, such as Uranus and Aries, Chiron and Pisces and Aries, Uranus into Taurus, Jupiter even in Sag in some ways can be a little bit over-energized. So it's such a blessing to have Saturn holding down the fort in its home sign throughout the entire year. That's not changing. Like, Saturn is like keeping us together. Saturn is keeping us together in 2019. And yes, for those of you who are cardinal sign, especially Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra, you're going to feel a bit of pressure. You're going to feel a bit of holding of something, but it's only so that you can develop it more strongly. It's only so that you can develop it with more power. And if you're not a cardinal sign or you don't have a lot of cardinal influence, it's going to be such a benevolence, I think, to have Saturn placed in Capricorn. You can really build your savings account, for example. You can really build a relationship. You can build your home, and you can solidify them. It's not even just building them at this point. It's making them secure and strong so that you can have some of these more energizing transits come in and give you a stage that you can work from with immediacy and effectiveness. The third quarter of 2019 is something that's a little bit more hard to speak on and hard to define because it's really beautiful. It's really incredible energy. And it does entail a lot of rest, but it's not really the type of rest that Jupiter in Scorpio gave us, or 2018, I want to say, gave us. It's not, needing to lay in bed, but it's sort of like a very sacred sense of release and sacred sense of rest within that release. So I sense that a lot of you are releasing something in the third quarter of 2019. So releasing a book, releasing an album. The second quarter could have seen you thinking, yes, I've written the album and now I'm going to get into the recording studio. And you see in the third quarter, you're like, I'm just going to release it. I'm not going to spend too much time turning it into something it's not. It's great. I'm just going to release it. For some of you, it's also thinking, okay, I'm going to release this career. I'm going to release this relationship and move into my next chapter. There's a big shift in chapter coming in third quarter 2019. So the first half of the year of 2019 is something that is a bit more gentle and intimate and more building. And then third quarter moving into second half 2019 is more so releasing and more so standing on the stage and performing what you are, performing what you represent, and being magnetic within that. And again, this is collective, it's for everyone, and some people are going to have certain transits that go against this particular idea, but to an extent everyone can release something and can show their energy in a new sort of optimistic and grand way that really pulls what they need in. And I will also say that the third quarter of 2019 is very teaching as well, and it's very again, Jupiter in Sagittarius, like Jupiter in Sag is right on the surface of all of this. It's always the first energy to come forward. It's like, I'm here, look at me. And it's a little bit, it's very vivacious, it's very vigorous, and it sort of steals the limelight. And some of the other transits can get a little bit rowdy with that and can be like, but we want our time to flourish as well. So you can see perhaps even a little bit of jealousy come forward in this year. You see that you're really out there and really jumping towards the limelight, and people are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Shouldn't you sit down and be calm? Saturn in Capricorn's we're just going to be calm and status quo and easily see everything that's happening, be very very different about everything. But again, yeah, third quarter moving into fourth quarter, it's kind of such a sigh of relief. I feel like fourth quarter, again, it's very fun, good time to travel, good time to engage with people, good time to not be victim to anything, to be defining your own life, to be in the driver's seat, to not be expecting other people to fund you or create you or add to your creativity, but rather to find your own sense of creativity. Creativity can really get you out of anything moving later into 2019. And again, this quarter by quarter message that's coming through, all of it applies to the entirety of the year. Some of these things might be more obvious in certain quarters, but again, you kind of have to define your own life and define your own roles, and you have to apply these things in a way that makes sense to you. So again, fourth quarter traveling, taking journeys within, being sort of in the place of, the sacred archetype of journeying, being the Fool. I feel like energy that really relates to the Fool comes up most definitely, and also the Sun. So I feel like you are shining with a leap of faith in the fourth quarter, but also finding a new sense of popularity. So this is the time I feel where the reviews come in, whether that be proverbial or physical. So you've released the album or the book and the reviews come in here, or the next opportunity, the contract of the label comes up here. For those of you in relationships, this is the point where it gets defined if it's going to come to the next level. It's a really beautiful energy though, because it takes you where you need to go. And the image that I see, as we're pushing closer and closer to 2020, is that I see the image of throwing darts. So you're throwing the dart to hit the bullseye, and it's 2018 was the dart in the hand, 2019 is the flight of the dart, and 2020 is when the dart hits the board. So there's a 3-year pattern coming up and coming forward, and we have to see what we're hitting in 2020. The dart is flying, it's been thrown as we're moving into 2019, we're riding it throughout 2019, then we're hitting the bullseye in 2020. So what are we aiming to hit in 2020? What are we aiming at? Like, take this time, especially at the end of 2018, moving into 2019, if you can, to think about your aim and to think about what you're striving for, what you're aiming at. This is really the most important message of the video as that symbol comes up. You can see yourself hitting something that you didn't want to in 2020. If in 2019, you're aiming only for change or escapism. So change is good and transformation inevitable as well in 2019. But are we doing that to escape something? Because it reemerges, you know. When we actually transform, it's not an escape, it's a redirection. But sometimes we can think that escapism is transformation because we're no longer experiencing the stimulus that we're escaping from. So seeing that differentiation and drawing a line there will be vital in thinking about, okay, who am I, what am I? Because you're going to see that you start to represent something quite different moving into 2019. And that representation shapes what you're walking into and hitting in 2020. So yes, we're speaking with quite a long-term thought there, and I know like the last thing that we really want to think about right now is 2020 of all things, and all of these messages, as I said, will come up at different times for different people. It's just sort of how it channeled in for me. But a really important theme to be thinking about throughout the entire year of 2019 and as you're moving into it is protection and luck, as I feel that everyone is protected and has some amount of luck this year, more so than we've had collectively in a long time. So everything feels possible. Like, it feels possible to heal from the chronic health issue. It feels possible to raise and transcend the relationship issue. It feels possible to walk away from something which no longer serves you and not really experience repercussions. But at the same time, try to do things in protected ways. I feel like the energies are still a bit chaotic and unstable, so try to introduce forms of protection into your life in whatever way that you can. Forms of insurance feel really good. It feels good to have insurance right now, like good health insurance, good like house insurance, car insurance. All those things feel important right now because it does feel like things can like break quite easily with the pressure that we've been under. So just make sure that you're prepared, and like maybe even have like a rainy day fund. Hopefully in 2018 you kind of saved a little bit. That was really a great time to pull things back, hold up a little bit. But at the same time, you can see by doing that, you're like, I should have spent more while I had the chance. It's sort of like it goes both ways. But hopefully by now you do have something to fall back on. You know, if it's not monetary, maybe it's relationships, you know, the type of people who are there for you in your moment of need, and you know that, like that loyalty. Because 2019, as support networks will be very vital. I'm not saying that something bad will happen, but knowing that you have a support is really essential when you kind of make a leap of faith, you know. We've had a lot of blind leaps of faiths over the last few years, and hopefully in 2018 you forge something to make it less blind, for sure. Something else that's really emphasized for 2019 are matters regarding faith and religion, actually, because we do have a lot of energies that deal with higher power and deal with higher manifestation. So a lot of us have on our mind, like, what's bigger than this? Like, what's bigger than my life? And it's going to be really important to reforge a sense of faith within yourself. And completely separate from even any religious manifestation, it's very important to feel connected to something bigger, because you can see a little bit of catharsis and sort of darker entity things come up if there's really nothing above you. So there are hierarchical themes that come forward. We have a weird eclipse season also starting, which I'll do a video on in the beginning of 2019, so people can start to feel very above and very like false senses of energy, false senses of power, which is kind of a difficult energy to actually channel in. So I'm not going to speak on it for too long because it feels a little bit heavy. But finding faith to do what's right, like what's right for you and right for everyone around you, is so important, because that's the beauty, again, about this year, is that there is a middle ground. There's luck and protection and middle ground relating to what is right and what satisfies and satiates people. So you can really, through, even through like praying or through seeing yourself doing the right thing, I just keep hearing the right thing, you can see that benefiting everyone. But the question is, will you do that when you see something very immediate that might like also hurt other people? Will you see like to hurt other people and do what's right for you? Will you see that as your only option when it's available and not try to think further about how you can really do something incredible and really benefit everyone around you? And of course, for each individual person, it's going to be different. And there may be some people where you see that you can't find that happy medium. But for a good, like 90% of people, which is a huge percentage, it feels like you can truly find happy mediums with people and everyone can be happy. It's really optimistic. It feels like everyone can be satiated and soothed by your decisions and by what you do. And through just taking a moment, like before you're in that driver's seat, before you're making decisions for yourself, or, you know, even stepping into the space to making decisions for other people, as I feel like a lot of people might be called on to be decision makers for others, really just sitting with yourself for a moment and thinking, okay, how can I do this well? How can I do this right? How can I honor myself and not repress my feelings or not take away from my own path, yet give to this person what they need? It does feel like the universe answers these questions very easily and provides the route with which you can do it in a way that really benefits everyone. And I know that that's been a difficult theme for pretty much everyone over 2018, but please have faith coming into 2019 that it's going to be possible and that you're going to be able to solve your problems and to live your life in a way that is healthy, positive, and benevolent, okay? All right, everyone, and on that note, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. This video does kind of serve as an intro to my 2019 Year Ahead series. Again, it is collective and applies to everyone who's watching. All signs this should hopefully resonate for, but I am going to go even further and break down each year ahead with a different format, you know, speaking more about tarot. I'm going to draw tarot cards. I'm going to channel in intuitive concepts, and I'm going to speak just about whatever transit or theme I feel comes up for each sign individually. Those videos should be available soon, and if they're available already, I will put them in the center of the screen here at the end of the video. Again, so much thanks to Keen.com for sponsoring this individual video, this 2019 collective year ahead. Again, go over to their website and check it out. You can get a reading immediately. Their advisors are available right now to help you. Make sure that you use my link below to navigate over to the website. Yes, so much thanks to them. If you guys haven't had the opportunity yet to subscribe to my channel, I would so appreciate that if you did, and thumbs up this video and share it with someone perhaps that you feel could benefit from it. Again, this is collective, and while it does take the theme of astrology and tarot and all of these, you know, esoteric tools, I feel that it applies to anyone of really any background. So hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, check out the links below. And yes, it might be another week before I get up the 2019 year ahead per individual sign, because it's a lot of work, you know, but they will be here, and by the new year they should definitely be here. Keep checking back to my channel. You can turn the notification bell on when you subscribe to get notified when I post. So if you would like to do that to see when your own sign is posted, or your moon, rising sign, whatever it is still posted, be sure to subscribe with that notification bell on. But anyway, everyone, I'm wishing you so much love, faith, abundance, benevolence moving into 2019. These last few days of 2018 will be very telling and will help support you into the next year, and moving up to March when we really get into the new year energy. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Much love. Bye.